Today's episode is brought to you by DAX Copilot from Microsoft. To learn about how DAX Copilot can help you reduce burnout and restore the joy of practicing medicine, visit aka.ms/knock-knock-hi. Again, that's aka.ms, like Microsoft, /knock-knock-hi.
You ever have that attending who is just an absolute fountain of knowledge and you wish you could just sit down and have coffee with them and be that third person in the room while they discuss those things?
Yes.
I am not that attending, but I do like to follow them around. And I wish that there was a podcast where I could emulate that kind of energy and have this third person feel like they're in the room with us, going into the nuances of what it means to be patient with someone, how to be therapeutic, but also being able to delve into off-topic and candid things about what it's like to
candor
be a resident.
things. Talk like humans do with candor. Do you hate Mondays like the cat Garfield?
I do. I do hate Mondays.
Well, we want to make it better for you.
How can you make Mondays better for me?
Maybe you can listen to our podcast, How to Be Patient, where you hear Preston and I be talking about psychiatry.
I have to be very patient with Margaret.
Because I'm advanced. Because I'm a couple of years. I'm a PGY4 psych resident. Preston, you are
PGY2,
which is 2 less.
Margaret and I are not normal residents. We're cool residents. So if you want a boring podcast,
I'm gonna get hazed for that.
I would avoid our show. But if you want to tune in, check in with us every Monday, and we'll be posting new episodes where we talk about topics ranging from cognitive behavioral therapy to vitamin D, how I feel about Fortnite, and everything in between.
Stregonona Fall.
And Stregonona Fall.
The Lizzie McGuire of it all.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Knock Knock Hi with the Glaucomfleckens. I'm Dr. Glaucomflecken, also known as Will Flannery.
I'm Lady Glaucomflecken, also known as Kristen Flannery.
This is our episode of Glauc Talk today.
That's right.
You know what's coming up?
What?
Ophthalmology match.
Ooh, big day.
Bum, bum, bum. It happens earlier than the other matches.
Yeah, I never really understood that.
Well, it's a different program. And like it's its own entity, the ophthalmology match. And all the other specialties, or most of the other specialties, they all happen on the same day. Ophthalmologist does it differently because we got to be different. We can't be touching.
See, that's why I don't ever understand.
We
like,
can't be
that's
like,
not really an explanation.
Can't be like around
right.
and in the same vicinity as other specialties. That's
you guys have like social anxiety,
body medicine,
right?
No. Do you remember
body medicine?
Do you
doctors.
remember the top 5 on my rank list?
Oh, this is getting pretty far away at this point. A lot has happened since then. Let's see. I remember Michigan.
Okay. Yep. Michigan
Iowa.
was number 1. Iowa was number 2, where I ended up matching. You know the difference between the two, why I chose Michigan over Iowa? I've told you this before.
I can't remember.
Because Michigan had a better ophthalmology. Oh, sorry. Michigan had a better ultimate frisbee scene.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was it.
Well, then you ended up getting matched to the correct place then.
I think it's a totally, I could not separate the two.
When were you going to play Ultimate Frisbee during residency?
I did.
What I want to know.
I found a team in Iowa, and I would have found a team to play with in Michigan as well.
Yeah.
But it ended up being okay because I really liked the team I played with in Iowa. But anyway, those are my top 2, and it was very hard to separate those 2. They're both very good.
Yeah. I don't remember what came after that. Do you?
Third was Wash U in St. Louis.
Oh.
Fourth was UC Davis.
Okay.
Could have gone to Sacramento.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? No thoughts. No thoughts whatsoever. Fifth would have been Chicago, UIC.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my top 5.
Yeah.
And I was happy with my outcome.
I was sad at first, but then once
Why
we
were
got
you sad?
there,
And why were you sad?
I had some preconceived notions about what life in Iowa would be like. And in Iowa City, where we were, it was not at all like that. And it was actually lovely. And we had a wonderful time. And it was very difficult to leave at the end of it.
Yes, that's true. But anyway, yeah, it all worked out. All worked out. Good luck to everybody matching ophthalmology. I think urology is the other one. Something about balls. They just all want to do the match like a little bit differently between the urologist and the ophthalmologist.
What other balls are there?
There's
that little ball at the back of your throat.
That's the uvula.
Uh-huh.
And there's no specialty dedicated to the uvula.
No, just ear, nose, and throat.
I guess that doesn't really count. Are there other balls? Is it eyeballs, testiballs?
Testiballs.
I mean, ovaries are
ovaries are ballish.
Lady balls.
Lady balls, yeah.
What other ball-shaped structures? The pituitary gland is kind of ball-ish.
Kind of, yeah.
It's more like a rugby ball. It's a little bit oblong. It's got like two.
Well, so are the ovaries, are they not?
I mean, I guess they're all oblong except for the eyes. Even the eyes are not perfect
spheres. Mine are probably oblong.
There are no perfect spheres in the body.
Interesting.
In the human body.
That's actually very interesting because there are perfect spheres in nature, aren't there?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a perfect sphere is... No, there are no perfect spheres in...
The sun? I don't know. The moon? Are they? They're probably not perfect spheres either.
Good question. Are there perfect spheres in nature? I don't know, but definitely not in the human body.
Yeah.
Unless, like, maybe gallstones.
Kidney stones?
Kidney stones, stones could be bladder stones. You get stones everywhere.
Yeah. Tonsil stones.
Tonsil stones.
You know?
Did you ever have your tonsils removed? Did
No.
you have surgery?
No.
Do that? No. I don't think they do that anymore.
I don't think it's a real thing anymore, right? Like, didn't they discover that they just grow back?
It's like bad.
You tend to have whatever was causing that problem, they didn't actually address by removing the tonsils?
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Just unnecessary surgery.
Yeah.
Well,
what about lymph nodes? Are they balls? Like individual
lymph
nodes?
Nodes are circular, but they're not perfect spheres.
No.
They're ball-like.
Okay.
So there's actually more balls than I thought of.
Yeah, they're just not perfect balls, but
yeah.
If we
were ranking the human balls, I think eye and then testicle would be like 1 and 2.
Of course you do, given your
my personal experience.
Yes.
I think that's what most people, if this is a Family Feud topic, be like, name a human body ball.
Of course.
Would be.
Those are the only two that are external.
What would be the first thing people would say?
Testicles.
Testicles, yeah.
Because
probably.
we call those balls colloquially. We don't call our eyeballs just balls.
Okay. But not me. I would say eyeball first.
Bubbles. Bubbles are perfect spheres in nature. Thank you, producer Rob.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Bubbles. And those are like naturally occurring things.
Yeah.
And you have
like outside in the water.
Yeah.
Ocean. Yeah. There's probably some ocean spheres. I wonder what a perfect sphere in the ocean might be.
The closest thing to a perfect sphere in nature is considered to be the sun.
There you go.
Okay.
I guess that.
There you go. That's good. You named it. You named the only perfect sphere in nature being the sun. I'm proud of you.
I missed bubbles.
Bubbles are, I guess that counts. I mean, it's more than just oxygen underwater.
Ooh, are atoms perfect spheres?
Oh, all right. I think we could probably, move on from this. All right. I think we should do healthcare news right off the bat.
Okay.
So we've talked a lot. A lot of people have talked about, obviously, the United Healthcare CEO murder, and then the uproar about health insurance in general, leading to the Blue Cross anthem policy surrounding anesthesia being rescinded. All right, that was a thing that happened.
Right.
But now this is always so predictable. So anytime that there's like this big backlash against like health insurance, which obviously honestly doesn't happen as much as I think it should, there's like the backlash to the backlash. There's what I think is just the health insurance industry like doing what they do to try to regain some of their PR, which is finding someone else to blame about the health insurance industry.
Of course.
So
health insurance 101.
Yes. So somebody else, it can't be the health insurance company that is the cause of all of our pain and suffering in healthcare. It's got to be somebody else. We only do great things in health insurance. And so who is it that usually gets blamed?
You guys.
Yeah, the physicians. And so I think they've been hard at work recently trying to get that message out there to, I don't know, whoever's willing to take up that mantle on social media about, look at physicians. Look at,
Look at
everybody's so
their
mad. Look how
salaries.
much they're paid.
Right.
So this is it's a hard thing to address as a physician, especially on social media when there's no nuance. Yeah. And so, I'll try to do it here. So if we take the pie chart of healthcare expenditure, physicians are depending on who you ask, 7 to 8%, maybe 9% at the most of healthcare expenditure.
Right.
Very small slice.
Very small. Also, they have debt from becoming a physician.
That's another reason.
Yes.
So it's easy to say, let's pay physician, let's cut their reimbursement. By the way, our reimbursement does get cut every single year. Medicare reimbursement gets cut. Health insurance typically does pay a little bit more than Medicare, but that also gets cut. And so we are every year we're getting less and less money from the things we do, while other entities, namely hospitals, get more and more. So the pie is being redistributed every year.
Yeah.
So we are getting paid less, especially when you consider inflation. And also nobody thinks about how connected medical education is to reimbursement.
Right.
You can't make med students take out $300,000 plus. It's because it's just getting higher in loans.
Right.
And then
not pay them enough to pay those back.
Yeah. Not so much not be able to not pay them enough, but just we're getting such a late start.
Yeah.
And we're very highly educated, very highly specialized. So I think we should get paid a lot of money for what we do.
Yes, it takes a long time to learn those skills.
And we're not actually making that high salary, most of us, until our 30s, usually early 30s at the earliest.
Right.
To mid 30s. So
at that point you have a lot of catch up for retirement accounts, and you can't fully catch up on something that uses compound interest, right? You've missed.
Yeah.
If someone just graduates college and gets to work and opens their retirement account, they're 22, 23 years old, right? You guys are 32, 33 years old before you're able to do that. That's a lot of lost savings.
And I'm not saying this to make people think we don't make a lot of money, because
right, nobody needs to feel sorry for you.
Don't feel sorry for us.
Obviously.
I'm doing just fine,
right,
and physicians are doing just fine. But the idea that's put out there that physician compensation is the problem is nonsense.
Right. It's a tactic that the insurance companies are using to distract from how much money they are actually making.
And here's the last point I want to make about this, and this relates to the topic of Blue Cross deciding to only cover a certain amount of anesthesia during a surgery that based on guidelines that they want to follow. And the backlash that occurred from that, which resulted in them rescinding that policy. There was a lot of stuff coming out on social media about surprise billing, overbilling. The reason we're doing this is to protect you from the greedy doctors who are charging too much for their services.
Yeah.
And here's another thing that is not coming out in that discussion is that the majority of physicians are employed by United Healthcare and hospital systems. There are fewer and fewer physicians out there that are in private practice that even have the ability to fraudulently bill.
Right.
And also, since we have electronic health records, all of that stuff is automated. It's increasingly more difficult because there's a massive electronic paper trail to commit fraud and bill more than you're supposed to bill. And there's timestamps for everything, for when a surgery starts, for when a surgery ends. It's you can't it's not just so easy to just like overcharge someone these days. And so,
But how does that jive with another complaint we have, which is you can't read your bills? It's so hard to read, like to tell what cost what amount of money.
yeah. I mean, that's part of that is just how complex our healthcare system is, and who you're getting a bill from, and where, and which hospital, and so I think it's just that's more.
But
a
is
matter
that
of
a place
education.
where you can be, where fraud can squeak in because people are not understanding? Like, sure, everything is documented, but not in a way that everyone
I suppose
can see on their bill.
I mean, sure, but it's also easily discoverable.
Yeah.
And you're just asking for trouble.
Who would it be discovered by? Like, who can read those things? Who's looking at
Audits.
those?
There's audits that are done
Okay.
by CMS, by regulatory bodies. They'll come in periodically. And,
What's CMS?
Center for Medicare Services.
Oh, okay.
They'll come
Oh,
in.
right.
They have.
So Dr. Oz is auditing everyone. Great.
That's right. Exactly. So, yeah, they'll come in and they'll check. And
Right.
if they, especially if you're like way off, if you're a physician and you're billing way more than a physician that does the same work as you, that's a red flag. And someone's gonna notice that,
Right.
and is gonna come after you. And
Yeah.
that's how people get discovered for committing Medicare fraud. So all these arguments that health insurance company and people that support health insurance, which I still will never understand why our physicians, like
Yeah.
our own people, will be like, oh, they actually, that they don't actually make a lot of profit from claim denials, and they don't. I mean,
Are those people being paid by the health insurance companies?
well, there's some of them that do get consulting fees from United Healthcare and others. So, but it's silly to say that because they're the ones that are in power. They're the ones that are employing physicians. They're the ones that are making all these policies.
And more, they are the ones that you have to get permission from to even do your job.
Yeah. So I don't know. Now I'm just like now I'm all amped up.
Yeah.
Let's fight the system. I don't know. So anyway, let's take a break. We'll come back.
Gotta get your blood pressure down.
Hey, Kristen, you just got disability insurance recently.
Well, I got it renewed. Yeah.
How does it feel?
It feels pretty great.
Yeah, it's such an important thing.
It really is.
Like, especially for physicians, because
yeah.
I use
You
my
need
hands.
your hands.
I need my feet.
You need your feet.
Most
you
of my
need
hands.
your eyeballs.
Eyeballs too.
Yeah.
There's like literally everything. Like there's
Yeah.
so many things that could happen, and having that peace of mind of having disability insurance is really important. And so let me tell you about Pearson Ravitz.
Tell me.
This is a physician-founded company by Dr. Stephanie Pearson, a disabled OBGYN, and Scott Ravitz, a disability insurance expert. Now, they've come together and have helped more than 6,000 physicians get disability insurance.
That's pretty cool.
Just an advocate for physicians as well to
Yeah.
like help people not have this massive oversight of like thinking you don't need disability insurance, because
Right.
you really do when you're a physician.
It's the kind of thing you got to buy when you're healthy for when you're not.
That's right. To find out more and get a free one-to-one consultation, go to PearsonRavitz.com/knock-knock. Again, that's www.pearsonravitz.com/knock-knock to get more information and protect your biggest investment, you. All right, Kristen, I got something fun for us to do. A few things. So first, I like to. This is a segment I call Tik Tok Recap.
Okay.
So people love tea.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the kids are calling it now. Tea,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the tea. What's the tea?
Right.
Do I sound like an old person saying this?
Yes, you do.
But that's what. But why? But that's what they call it. The tea.
It's the way you're saying it.
How am I supposed to say it?
People love tea.
Oh, not.
Is that what the kids are saying? Tea?
Is it that? Did I say it? Call it the tea?
No, you said tea.
Like the internet's
No, you said tea.
tea. So I think that's fine. Anyway,
Moving on.
all right, the tea. Tea.
The TikTok tea?
Yeah, it's the TikTok tea. So I figured what we could do. Yeah, I've made like 400 skits now.
Yeah.
And so
That's so many.
I went through and found skits that were very popular,
Mhm.
but also generated some controversy.
Okay.
I thought we could talk about them.
Let's talk.
So every now and then, I'll bring up one, and
you'll spill the tea.
I'll spill the tea. Exactly. So this one today is a video I did. That was, I forgot the exact name of it. I put on YouTube, but on TikTok, it was about whenever a physician answers a phone call and hears the word, or really anybody that takes care of patients, here's a phone call that says, you remember that patient you saw last week
Mm-hmm.
or yesterday or last, and that the fact that is this like pit in your stomach, you just, it's like you're on a roller coaster and like, oh man, immediately, because we're so perfectionist,
Mm-hmm.
the immediate thought is not, oh, really? Did they call you to tell you that they love the healthcare that I gave them so much? Like that would
Right.
be a healthy way to think. No, it's always worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And so in this video, I'm some unnamed physician, answer a phone call, and it's an emergency physician. They're like, hey, I want to tell you that, that patient you saw last week?
Hmm.
And then Inya starts playing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the thought process. There's no words. I'm just like, I drop the phone and just have this look of horror on my face. I start crying, eating ice cream out of the carton.
Mm-hmm.
I end up Googling what is prison like and malpractice lawyer near me.
Right. Okay, I have two interjections here.
Okay.
One is that is every single day living with anxiety, just so you know. And
You telling me I have anxiety? I'm a
you might.
very even-keeled person.
No, you're not. You're so uptight.
What are you talking about?
You are an uptight person. You are very high-strung.
Explain.
This is a different topic for another time. Maybe we'll get into this on the next episode. But my question here was, do you think that surgeons...
I'm type B personality. I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
are not. Really? You think that? Oh, okay, good. Type B. I brought up the anxiety because I have anxiety.
No, I know
was
you
trying
do.
to garner some sympathy from you, or empathy, right? Of like, this is...
I know. I'm so sorry.
This is what my life is like.
Okay, so go on. What was your point?
Oh, you're infuriating, even when you are... It's like sarcastic empathy. Okay. My question, though, second interjection. You said that the healthy response would be to assume that someone was calling somebody else to talk about the great healthcare that you gave them, which I would argue is maybe also not healthy. I think the healthy response would be just neutral curiosity. But do you think surgeons can relate to this video that you made? Or do you think they do think they're calling me to tell me how great I did on that surgery?
No. I think it's a universal reaction for all physicians.
All right.
Yeah. Surgeons, I mean any physician.
Even neurosurgeons?
You're saying that their ego is so massive that
they would assume that if they're getting a call,
that they were getting praise for the phone call.
Yeah.
I don't think so because
No?
I mean that's just what society is like now. You're much more likely to hear the things you did wrong than the things
Nobody
you did
calls
right.
you to tell you did a good job.
Yeah, most reviews. That's why I have to beg people to give positive reviews on social media because it's so easy to get a negative review that you need like 20 of them, positive ones, to drown out like one negative review that you might have.
Right.
People just love complaining about things.
Yeah.
I mean, myself included. We all do it. We all love complaining. So I put that video out there and is a hit. I knew it would be. Like sometimes I make a skit and I'm like, oh, this is good. Like I know I've made like a good piece of content. Sometimes I'm not so sure. That's when I show it to you and see if you give a little.
Yeah, that's
if I know, that's when I know a skit is gonna take off. Is if I get any kind of positive reaction out of Kristen.
Okay, you're making me sound really mean.
It's not. It's not that. It's because you've heard all my jokes.
Yes, a million times.
So if I say something new and fresh,
right,
and it makes you laugh, like I know that's like a really good joke.
Yeah.
And I need a harsh critic. I don't need someone. No, I love it. I do. I really appreciate that. It's not like you're trying to be a harsh critic.
No.
You've just heard a lot of my stuff.
I'm just reacting honestly.
Yeah. And so if I get
I'm also not in healthcare, so I don't get
that's true. That's
all
the other
the
part
jokes.
Of it.
So if you can make me laugh, then anybody's going to get it probably.
Yeah, that's a much better way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, this one though, I was like, yeah, I got something here because this is a really it's a universal topic for people that see patients. And so the reaction I got was generally that it was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what's. Some people outside of healthcare, I think, were a little bit they were not confused by the video, but just didn't quite understand that part of it.
Really, that's surprising because I think that's a universal issue. I mean, I think it's maybe amplified in healthcare, but everyone can relate to having your boss call you and say, hey, that report you turned in or whatever it might be.
Well, what I found out was that there was an ethics professor that actually made that video the topic of a lesson, like a whole class.
Okay.
About whether or not making those types of jokes about being worried that you're going to get sued or that you made a mistake is ethical coming from a physician.
What was their argument about it might not be ethical?
Because it's like you're only concerned about the fact that you might face repercussions for a mistake versus the actual health
that
of the
what
patient.
You should be worried about when you get that call is that the patient might not be okay.
Yeah.
But who's to say you're not also worried about that?
Exactly.
I guess because it wasn't featured as a worry.
I guess because that's not as funny. I mean, it's like the fact that I hurt a person is obviously at the forefront of my mind, but I can't make jokes about that because that's not funny.
That's the thing. It'd be interesting to speak to that ethics professor because it also gets into the ethics of being a healthcare content creator. You would not put that in a video because it is not funny to joke about patients not being okay.
Right. I mean, that's always that's at the root of the anxiety is that
that you did something to harm the patient. Right. That's the underlying assumption in the video that goes unsaid because it is assumed. Right.
And so anyway, that was. And then I got a few other comments that are like, this isn't funny, or you shouldn't be joking about this type of thing. And so I don't know, I was a little bit surprised by that. I wasn't expecting to get any kind of pushback from that.
Yeah, so I am interested to hear from anyone who has that opinion.
Well,
to see why.
Sure. I don't know. I mean, I still stand by it. In fact, I made that video a few years back, and there's some things that I could have done better, and so I remade it maybe 5 months ago, and so I put it back out there, and I totally refilmed it, and it was like one of my first 20 TikToks, and I just wasn't that good at making videos back then, so it was just kind of clunky and not real great.
Right.
So anyway, that was a Tik Tok recap.
Yeah. Well, to the ethicists out there, the underlying assumption is that you are concerned that you have done something to have harmed the patient. And that is why you are thinking all these other things.
And granted, this is all, 98% of people got it.
Right.
Right. So and I didn't, and the only negative reactions I got were from other physicians.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't even patients be like, this is alarming that my doctor thinks this way.
Right. I do think that's, it's good though. It's good that other physicians are thinking about and bringing up the question, right? You want your profession is one that is held to a higher ethical standard than some other professions. And so it's good that people in that profession are considering the ethics.
It still makes me laugh when I think about Googling what is prison like.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a funny thing to do. Come on.
Anyway, all right. I like that. The TikTok recap.
Yeah.
Because I've got other examples.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. I mean, some people out there really don't like doctors trying to be funny on the internet.
You're a fairly beloved but polarizing character, I feel like, in social media, because most people do feel seen and understood by your content, and so they love it, and that in turn makes them love you. And then a very small minority of people, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, maybe don't get your jokes or something.
That's fair.
Or they don't think that, comedy has a place in medicine. And so those people are very outspoken about that when they have, when you put something out that they're reacting to. And there's always either like, I really love this, or this is garbage.
And the question that I always have to answer for myself is the criticism legitimate enough where I need to take this content down?
Right.
And I have done that a couple times. And I'll actually, we can, in future episodes, we can talk about those instances as well.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think it's to
for
your
this
credit.
One, I knew. I was like, no, like this is, I understand what they're saying, but the vast majority of people are getting the point that I'm trying to make. Right. And that's the biggest thing. Is it clear enough?
Right.
What I'm making fun of, who I'm making fun of, and
who you're not making
who I'm
fun
not
of.
making fun. Exactly. Is the message clear? And in that case, it was.
Right. I think it's to your credit. I have seen you sure, nobody likes criticism, and your initial response is usually to bristle, right, at being criticized, which is everyone's initial response. But then you are very thoughtful about, is this valid criticism? I have seen you kind of mull that over. We've had discussions, and and then when
all the mental anguish that you guys don't see behind the scenes.
Right.
I'm just flogging myself sometimes in self-punishment.
Is that supposed to be a joke? Because that's a fact.
Oh, like mentally.
Well, metaphorically flogging. There's no literal flogging happening, just to be clear.
Kristen, take the belt. Give it to me. I deserve it. That sounded bad.
It
All
did.
right.
That was a different direction than intended.
Let's take another break. Hey, Kristen.
Yeah.
I know you're a big fan of DAX Mites.
Uh-huh.
You know the eyelid mites?
Yeah.
They're on your eyelid?
Uh-huh.
They're just right there in your eyelid?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, what if they flew at you?
Oh, God.
What if they jumped? What if they jumped? Would that bother you even more?
Oh, it'd be even
worse. Would that
worse.
be better?
Jumping bugs are always worse.
Well, I have good news for you. They're not jumping.
Oh,
they don't jump at you. But they are there, and they can cause crusty, flaky, itchy, red,
that's not
irritated eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you're a little bit grossed out.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's a disease. It's called DAX blepharitis.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like no fun.
Well, but it's pretty common, and a lot of people don't really know about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, these they are kind of cute. I gotta admit, just a little cute.
Maybe a little cute.
Regardless, you shouldn't get grossed out by this. You should get checked out.
Okay.
All right, go to eyelidcheck.com for more information. Again, that's EYELID check.com to get more information about these little guys and DAX blepharitis. All right, a couple more things for you.
Okay.
Most embarrassing small mistake you've ever made. Should I go first?
But I don't know. Do you want me to go first or you go first?
Why don't you go first if you have something?
The only thing I can think of, I'm sure there are many, but the only thing, it must have been the one I was most embarrassed by, because this is what pops to mind first. But one time in grad school, they bring in visiting professors, and sometimes they're very prestigious in the field, right, and well-known and whatnot. And we would have brown bag lunches, where we all bring our little sack lunch and ramen noodles. That's all we can afford. And the speaker comes and gives a talk on some topic, right? And it's a valuable opportunity because you get to have knowledge, and you also it's usually a smaller group, right? So you get to actually interact with these very big names in your field. So this guy was a very, very big deal. And all the faculty beforehand made sure that we understood how big of a deal this person was, and we got a little lecture. Basically, it was kind of like the grad student equivalent of when your kid goes to somebody else's house and you give them a little lecture about how they should be behaving in front of somebody else. We got that little lecture. And another thing about these brown bags is that the grad students would take turns. We got assigned, leading the brown bag because it's supposed to be developing our skills at doing this, right? So this particular one happened to be my turn to lead. And so I was leading, we're having a discussion, and I'm noticing towards the end that it's getting to be time to leave, and I am trying to be respectful of this person's time, right? And moderate the discussion in such a way that we can move along. And so there was a lull in the conversation. And so I took that as an opportunity to say, all right, well, let's thank our guest, right?
I love the all right, well. All right, well.
All right.
That's a very...
Well. Slap the knees.
Get up. Yep.
Yeah, I won't keep you any longer. So I do the all right, well, but it turned out he wasn't done speaking. So what I had actually done was I was so nervous about moderating that I had not paid attention to the content of the conversation well enough to realize that he was still kind of mid-thought, and the lull in the conversation was because he was still speaking and formulating his next thought.
And
I just completely interrupted that and tried to end the whole thing in front of my entire department.
What happened?
I was publicly ridiculed.
Like in the moment?
No, in the moment, some of the faculty who had more expressive facial reactions
were horrified.
And their nonverbals told me so. And so I turned bright red because that's what I do, and backtracked and tried to allow him to finish what he was saying. But it was really embarrassing. And then everybody made fun of me after.
Okay, well,
yeah,
I like that. It is an embarrassing small mistake. All right, can I tell you mine?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never told you this story.
Oh.
I think I've heard that story once before.
Probably that day.
Yeah. So this one, I was in my, I forgot what, I think it was some outpatient rotation. I honestly can't remember which one it was. I was a med student.
Okay.
Third year. Attending was in the room.
Okay.
I was doing an exam, like a cardiac exam, a stethoscope. I remember I had gloves on. Sometimes you wear gloves when you're examining people. And I, right in the middle of the exam, was concentrating very hard. Patient was lying down. I was concentrating so hard on trying to hear. I think the patient had a murmurs. I was just trying to figure out what I was listening to as a med student. And I drooled.
No, on the patient?
Fortunately not.
Oh, were you wearing a mask?
It landed. No, this was, before.
I know, but you got the little surgical masks. I guess you don't do that in an exam room.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Fortunately, no. I drooled on my gloved hand. It landed very lucky, but I know the attending saw me. And because they were just standing right on the other side of the table. I was just because I was leaning over.
Yeah.
As my mouth was partially open.
Yeah, you are an open mouther.
And I was, and I was just concentrating so hard that it just saliva just came out of my mouth, and I've never ended an exam so quickly in my life. I didn't bring attention to it. I just
you did the all right. Well,
all right, well, I put my other hand on top of my saliva hand to hide it, and not that it did any good, and that was it.
Oh my goodness.
I was just felt so fortunate that I did not drool all over the patient.
Yeah.
Which would be a lot worse. But
it would be.
I was mortified, and it was only halfway through the rotation, so I still had to work with that.
Did he say anything to you?
Never said a word.
Okay, well, that's nice.
I don't even know what my grade was, or I didn't look at my evaluation.
You never looked him in the eye again.
That's right. That was the most embarrassing small mistake I'd ever made.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You drool pretty much every night.
Oh, I drool. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I drool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a drooler.
Because you got the open mouth all the time,
Yeah. No,
especially when you sleep.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is
your
like
jaw
my
drops.
anatomy. My jaw
Yeah.
drops.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know why some people do that and some people don't.
I know.
What if it's like an anatomy thing? I don't know. Breathing thing.
I wonder if it would do that if your face was a perfect sphere.
You have a little bit more of a spherical face than I do. Mine's very long.
Right. Yours is elongated and mine is kind of square.
Tell us, facial anatomy people. Do sphere faces, are they more able to keep their jaw closed? The things that come up in these
You never
conversations.
know.
Okay. That's it. That's all I got.
All right.
Any other thoughts?
Oh, nah.
Okay.
You asked me that and you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Which when I get put on the spot, I just go blank.
Yeah.
And so every single time you ask me that, I sound like I have no thoughts.
Oh, you've got
As a
lots.
person.
I know you've got lots of thoughts.
I have many thoughts.
But you just don't have time for them.
Many of them are not relevant to this discussion, so I'm filtering.
Well, what have we learned today, Kristen?
We've learned you're a drooler.
Yes, everybody knows now my propensity for drool.
Yep. And we've learned that.
Never happened again, though. I keep my mouth shut when I'm examining patients.
Now you know. The more you know.
You learn so much as a
Yeah.
med student.
Right.
Some things you didn't know you'd have to learn. But
Exactly.
there you go.
Like how to not drool.
Yes.
We also learned about yet another predatory practice by insurance companies. This time predatory against the physicians.
Yeah, the way they try to direct the narrative away from them toward other people.
Yeah.
It's really
Classic scapegoating.
Ugh. I hate it so
Yeah.
much.
But pay attention for it.
Yep.
You'll never be able to not notice it again.
That's right. Well, thank you, everybody. Let us know what you thought of the episode of Glauc Talk. What topics do you want us to talk about? We'd love to hear from you. Email us, knockknockhi@human-content.com. Visit us on our social media platforms. Visit us.
Visit us on social
Sorry.
media.
Not-
Are you going to drool?
I got a cough drop. So I can get through this episode. Visit us on our social media platforms. Human Content Podcast Family is over on Instagram and TikTok at Human Content Pods. Thanks for leaving reviews. We love to see those. You can visit your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube at Glaucomfleckens. That's our YouTube channel. It's where all these video episodes go up.
That's right.
We can give you a shout out like at Andrew Spoyer 7183 on YouTube said, "Don't do that. Tip of the week compilation, please." Oh yeah.
Ooh.
The knock knock. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Do all the don't do that eyeball tips of the week.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
That is a good idea.
Full video episodes, as I mentioned, up every week on our YouTube channel at Glaucomfleckens. We also have a Patreon. Lots of cool perks, bonus episodes, react to medical shows and movies. Hang out with other members of the Knock Knock Hi community. We got a growing little community there. Early ad-free episode access, interactive Q&A live stream events. We just did one the other day.
We did. It was really fun.
Awesome. We had, and then a while back, we had Preston Roche.
That's right.
Press Row on TikTok. He joined us. It
Be
was a
sure
lot of
you
fun.
check out his podcast, How to Be Patient.
Yeah. Patreon.
Out now.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, check it out. It's great. Patreon.com/Glaucomflecken or go to Glaucomflecken.com. Patreon community perks. We got to do this. Love Patreon community perks. New member shout out, Jack S. and Haley R. Thank you. Thank you for being patrons. And shout out to all the Jonathans as usual. Patrick, Lucia C., Sharon S., Edward K., Stephen G., Marion W., Mr. Granddaddy, Caitlin C., Brianna L., Mary H., K. L., Keith G., Jeremiah H., Parker, Muhammad L., David H. ×2, Kaylee A., Gabe, Gary M., Eric B., Marlene S., Scott M., Kelsey M., Joseph S., Dr. Hoover, and, that bubbly salt. Patreon roulette, random shout out to someone on the emergency medicine tier, Beth Y. Thank you, Beth, for being a patron. And thank you all for listening. We're your hosts, Will and Kristen Planner, also known as the Glaucomfleckens. Our executive producers are Will Flannery, Kristen Planner, Aaron Corney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brook. Editor and engineer is Jason Portiza. Our music is by Omer Ben-Zvi. To learn about Knock Knock Hi's program disclaimer, ethics policy, submission verification, and licensing terms, and those HIPAA release terms, go to Glaucomflecken.com or reach out to us, knockknockhi@human-content.com, with any questions, concerns, or fun medical puns. Knock Knock Hi is a Human Content production.
Bye.
Hey, Kristen.
Yeah,
You know we love DAX Copilot here.
we sure do.
Like, it's great.
Love it.
Little Jonathan in your pocket.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Juicy.
Yeah, helping out with admin burden, documentation. And one of the things I really like is it can like organize your notes for you.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if this might come as a surprise to you.
No.
Like my notes sometimes
Uh-huh.
like not the most organized.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I could use a little help, and DAX is there to help me with that.
That's right.
While also, by the way, like looking at my patients when I'm talking to them.
I love it when my physicians are using DAX in my appointments because they just have a better conversation and rapport. And it's just a better overall appointment.
And one thing that people might get a little bit concerned about with AI products is safety.
Yeah.
But DAX Copilot is backed by Microsoft's robust like security. I feel great about their security and
HIPAA compliant.
HIPAA compliant. And so it's my patients are safe. I know the documentation is safe, and it's just a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
To learn about how DAX Copilot can help you reduce burnout and restore the joy of practicing medicine, visit aka.ms/knock-knock-high. Again, that's aka.ms/knock-knock-high. Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Hope you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.